Only on Kiwi.
You're listening to the Radio Wammo Breakfast, only on Kiwi.
Well, last evening, at a wee event in Auckland City at the Langham Hotel, a group of people gathered together to find out who was nominated for the Vodafone New Zealand Music Awards 2009, happening at Victor Arena on October the 8th. That's when the big ceremony happens. But also, as happens every year, a month before the actual awards ceremony, the technical winners are announced. Now, these are the categories involving Best Album Cover, Best Producer and Best Engineer. In those categories, Best Producer was Fat Freddy's Drop, as a collective, I suppose, and for the album cover, Ruben Nielsen from the Mint Chicks for the Mint Chicks album Screens. Best Engineer, I'm very pleased to announce, was Andrew Buckton for his engineering on the latest Midnight Youth CD. I have a winner on the line. It is Andrew Buckton, engineer. Good morning, Andrew.
Hi, mate. How you going?
Very well. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you go out partying last night?
No, not too late. I think we'll wait for the main night. I think there'll be a pretty big night happening that night.
You're going to hold off?
Yeah.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, it is quite an achievement. I hear that you've been in the biz, so to speak, for 17 years.
Yeah, I think I first kind of started recording at York Street about 17 years ago.
Wow,
so
you've seen a fair few musicians come through that studio.
Yeah, just a few.
Can you remember the first album you worked on?
No.
That far back, huh?
Yeah.
That would have included, just thinking back about some great albums come out of York Street, Vine Street Stories?
No, I think that was done at Greg's house.
Was it? Oh, it was probably done in Vine Street.
Yeah, in Vine Street, yeah.
Just embarrassed myself then. No, then I'll let you tell me what the highlights were from York Street over the past 17 years.
Oh, from the early days, I think when Super Groove was obviously quite a big album at the time, and that was a fantastic record. And,
yep.
Same, she had Killjoy.
That was a huge one.
Yeah, I got to see that record getting made from the side, so that was pretty cool.
That's history right there.
Yeah.
And you were looking on that one. You weren't on the knobs and
No,
dials.
I wasn't on the knobs. No.
Okay.
No, I was on the coffee.
Tell us about this Midnight Youth album. How did that come about? Did they select you, or did you select them? How does that work?
I've had a kind of a long association with them. I've kind of pretty much worked with them since they've been at school.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been kind of working with them over I guess a period of about 4 years. Building them up into what they are today. So it was just kind of a natural process. We liked the way each other worked, and we just kept doing it.
And as a producer, engineer, what do you add? What sort of input do you have on the album?
Well, I did a lot of production on the record as well, and
okay.
Sometimes the two kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
The engineering is a kind of more of a straight technical kind of side of things, but there's a lot of creativity within that scope.
Yeah.
They give me a pretty free rein with what we do, because we both kind of have that kind of trust in each other that if someone has a gut instinct to go in a certain direction, we kind of let each other kind of try it out.
So, because an engineer doesn't say, "Hey, try this chord or try that chord," you take the tracks, don't you? Each individual musician and bump them up or.
From a technical point of view.
Right.
But I'm always telling them to do different chords.
Yeah. Any disagreements on this particular album? Any point where someone said, "Oh, I reckon it should sound like this," and you went, "No, mate, I know best."
No, not really. There was a track that didn't make it onto the record that I kind of said shouldn't make it to the record.
Okay.
That they eventually agreed with me.
And thank goodness, because you're the one holding the award.
Yeah. But no, nothing major. There's such an easygoing bunch of guys to work with.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty smooth sailing.
Excellent. And you fought off some pretty stiff competition there.
Yeah, well, we got some pretty talented people making records in this country, and especially considering the budgets that we get in this country to try and compete with stuff from overseas is such a small portion that we can make records that sound anything like what's coming in from overseas is a kind of a testimony to all the other people working in the industry, really.
Yeah, tell us about that, because, as you say, you work on small budgets, so do you have to kind of stretch things?
Yep, we just have to try and save money in any way we kind of can. One of the things I did, personally, I set up my own studio called Studio 203, which, and I was kind of one of the first people to do this, but once Pro Tools kind of came along and technology changed, because I grew up working on tape, where the big studio was your only option to go and record. But when the technology kind of changed with Pro Tools, it meant that you could kind of go into a smaller space and not necessarily need the big kind of studio to do that. And that gave you afforded you a bit more time in order to kind of produce things and work on things to get it a bit more kind of comparative with overseas.
Yeah.
In terms of a production point of view. So that's kind of made things kind of a little bit easier from that point of view.
And what about, being an engineer itself? There can't be that many engineers around. It's a pretty specialised sort of thing to be doing, but I'd imagine it's something that a lot of people do want to do. So do you find there's a bit of competition now out there?
There's lots of people that want to do it, and there's very few people that are willing to go through the actual reality of becoming an engineer. And when I first started, I basically spent 2 years of making coffee and cleaning ashtrays for 80 hours a week for no money, kind of living on a kind of a subsistence level. So,
do you find that people don't want to do that these days? They want.
Well, it's not a particularly attractive career option initially.
Well, they want the fast track, don't they?
Yeah. They want to kind of make records now, and it kind of doesn't really work that way.
Yeah.
So.
See, that's called Gen Y. Andrew Buckton. That's called Gen Y. Yeah, and Gen C, I think, is the next.
Oh, okay.
God knows what's going to happen there. So the awards, as we were saying, happen on October the 8th, and the nominees were announced last night. I just want to get your thoughts on, particularly on the Album of the Year category, because obviously Midnight Youth is in there, right? The Brave Don't Run, and so you'd be pretty biased for that one. But what are your thoughts on, say, like the Ladyhawke CD? Because I think that was produced overseas.
Yeah. It's from what I've heard of it, it's a really clever record. There's just so much good music coming out of this country. Any of those records are worthy kind of records, and it's pretty hard to kind of pick one sometimes out of these categories.
Well, it's funny because you've also got the Minchicks in there, and even though now they're seasoned professionals, it still has a kind of a DIY kind of ethic about it. Yeah,
I'm not sure how they made that record, so I can't comment, but I suspect they've probably got enough awards from last time.
And what about, have you ever worked with Fat Freddy's at all?
No, I haven't, no.
I'd imagine it could be quite difficult because it takes years for albums to come out of those guys.
Yeah.
They've been nominated in that category, but that was a long time coming for that album to come out.
Yeah.
Have you got patience?
You have to in this job.
Yeah, right. It's particularly dealing with.
And when you're getting
musicians.
frustrated, you can't show it.
What do you make of the? Have you heard of the Cut Off Your Hand CD?
No, I haven't actually heard that. I've heard snippets of it on TV, and it sounds really interesting. So
yeah.
But no, I haven't actually given the whole record a good listen through yet.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly looking shaping up to be a great awards, and I guess you can kind of relax on the night knowing that you have already got the award.
Yes, yeah.
Perhaps even go fishing. I hear that you're a keen.
You've done some research.
You're a keen fisherman.
Yeah, a couple of times a year. Yeah.
It's coming into the fishing season.
Yep.
You'll be heading out. Have you got a boat?
Yeah, I do. Yep.
Nice. And where do you normally head out?
Oh, anywhere in the Gulf, or if I can manage it, up to the far north.
Are you worried about this algal bloom thing?
Not particularly, mate. No.
The toxin that's out there?
No, I don't think there's too much to worry about with that.
Is there still fish to catch?
Yep.
And big fish?
Oh, there's still a few around if you know the right spot.
Yeah. Well, Andrew, it's really nice to talk to you and nice to meet you.
Nice to talk to you.
And I really love your attitude to both engineering and keeping it relaxed.
Excellent.
As well. Yeah.
Cool.
Congratulations on winning the Tui for Best Engineer.
Okay, thanks very much.
It's Andrew Buckton. Yes, announced last night at the Langham Hotel. He took out Best Engineer. And the full list of nominees and award winners you'll find later on today up on the QFM website, qfm.co.